Okay, so again, in general, we are looking at these big picture concepts of myths or beliefs. Do we believe what is said, and why or why not? So the two assignments we'll be looking at is examining the thing that you're told not to do first, which is putting your knees over toes when you're squatting and lunging. And the second is this assumption that you are supposed to do, which is stretching. So we're just going to kind of look at the logic behind those two things. So going back, we look at knees past toes. Okay, so in general, this is a general cue that people give, coaches, teachers, people in the body know, say, hey, don't put your knees past toes when squatting or lunging. Okay, 60% of you have had this said to you. 70%, right? Is it all of a sudden we jump up in percentage, consider it a matter of safety. When I am told I am doing something in a way that will hurt me, I make sure I don't do it that way. 85%. This person says it's wrong, it's going to hurt me. I change my pattern, I limit my options, I do it differently. Okay, following the logic. Okay, I have not hurt myself exercising since practicing safe instruction. 50% agree, 25% don't agree, and the other 25% are like, I haven't really moved around enough to test this theory. So let's look at now, kind of considering this. Hurt me, I won't do it that way. This position and why it might not be logical. Okay, I'm gonna adjust things so you can see. All right, so knees past toes dangerous. That's the concept. If I'm going to go to the ground, I'm going to put my knees past toes. It's a natural thing. If I don't do that, my knees get in the way and I run out of room. Another task. I'm going to pick up this pen. My knees go over toes. I don't necessarily, unless I have a bad back, do it this way. Every track starter in the history of track starts here. Knees past toes. When I am walking, knees past toes. When I'm running, knees past toes. When I'm jumping, knees past toes. So if all, and I hope I just generally was like, look at all these patterns in which we do it. If in general, this is a natural instinct, it's a way that our body chooses to do something, why on earth would we be told that it's wrong? Right? Why all of a sudden is it a dangerous thing? And if I plant the seed in your mind that it's a dangerous thing, you're going to consider it dangerous and you're going to change all your patterns. I argue that folks who do not let the knees go past toes are actually getting weaker and less athletic. I'll give you another example. Okay. So when my knee goes backwards on the foot, I go backwards. If this is true, that means the only way I can go forward is if this knee comes over the toes. So if I am keeping my knee back, what I'm doing is putting on the brakes. This is a braking position. This is a going position. And the idea is looking at the feet. Hoping you can see my feet in there. Right? The idea of why this is coming to be is I can handle more weight when my heels are on the ground and I'm using this backside. I can carry a lot more weight. It's a weightlifting ploy. When I shift my weight back, my weight goes to my heels. When I shift knees forward, it goes to my toes. This I have no power in athleticism. This I have no power in athleticism. But if I'm able to use my hamstrings to pull myself down, Now I am springy and athletic. I'm not locked on my toes, I'm not locked on my heels, but I can do anything I want. I am a spring here because I am using the hamstrings to pull me down. Your knee will hurt when I try to do that motion through the knees. I want this thing to lengthen to allow me to go. I don't want it to tighten. The conflict, that's why the knees hurt. But folks don't want to look at and examine what's really going on. What they want to do is just say, don't do this. It's like if you have a shoulder injury of some sort and you go to the doctor and you're like, hey doc, my shoulder hurts. And he's like, you know what, just don't do anything. So if not doing stuff is the answer to issue, then you'll end up not doing anything. Right? So as much as people have it in our best interest to not get us hurt, we really have to be able to challenge what is told to us instead of just accepting it. Okay? Again, this idea of fear is restricting. I do less when fear is involved. If we move on here, right? You get it. 78% restricts what you do. I do less because of fear. I do it differently based out of fear. Right? Bigger picture. Fear keeps me in my house room most of the day. We don't want to get a virus. So everything has changed. Right? Lastly, getting over fear requires small steps and small successes to gain confidence. But the flip side of that, again, 93%, I understand. But those steps have to be in the direction of the fear to make it okay. Right? If I am afraid of heights, staying on flat land isn't going to get me unafraid of heights. I need to get to the next level or the next story. It has to fit. Unless there's any questions, I'll jump right into the next assignment. Okay, big picture here. Fear restricts you and limits you. Then today's assignment, the idea of we need to stretch. So again, example 1 was don't do this, and how does that affect you? And example 2 is you should do this, and how does that affect you? Starting off, purpose of stretching. You will get a lot of reasons. Take a quick look. A lot of preparation, relaxation, getting you flexible. Okay. Good. General idea. Now, so this is we kind of have a general idea of what we think stretching is. Then I say, hey, well, if stretching is for tense muscles, how do muscles get tense? Let's jump down to that. Overuse, tension, stress, because you don't warm up, which is circular logic. Right? Kind of an understanding of why we need to stretch, kind of an understanding of why muscles get tight. However, then I ask, hey, well, how long, you kind of understand these concepts, how long should you do it? And all of a sudden, we got instructions, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, I think like 10 seconds, right? That's the disconnect. We don't really know the cause. We don't really know the effect, but we have instructions. If stretching is a form of relaxation, which I agree with, just like everything that we've been doing, relaxation depends on the body, how long it takes, what's tight.
It's like team sports, right? And this thing really, really gets me because you have this group that is doing the same thing at the same time, but they're all different bodies and they all have different issues. But yet when the team captain gets to 20, we're supposed to switch. My argument is that warm-ups, which generally include stretching, is a mental preparation that we're about to practice or exercise or do whatever. It is getting your mind right, right? We do stuff. We don't feel or really know what we're doing or why we're doing it, but we just do it. Another point of question. If I have to stretch the same thing every day, am I making a change on it? Because if I was eliciting a change, I wouldn't need to stretch it so much. Right? So if I ask this big question, does everyone need to stretch? The answer is no. Do you have balance? Because that's what stretching elicits. One part of your body is doing more than anything else, like the knees. And that tightness dictates that you need to find the other way. You need to find the balance of that. It's called the antagonistic muscle. Another example, bench pressing, right? If I bench press all day long, I'm going to end up rounding to make that bench press easier. Because all I've done with that work is I've shortened these positions. So people who bench press a lot are going to be told they need to stretch out their pecs. But what they might need more is to work on pulling actions that strengthens the opposite motion. So this can find a middle. Right? Last bit, kind of a visual, right? So a stretching is either moving 2 points, but the way we use our body is typically moving 1 point away from the other. We have this normal. Some people, the normal is separated further. That's their normal. And so when they stretch, right, they only come back to what they know, rather what is actually a relaxed position. So whether you do it before or after doesn't necessarily matter. It's why is this part so tight in the first place? That's the question you need to ask. Okay, let's look at some quick circles here, right? Before, again, look at this number. Again, my hunch is that it's mental preparation. It is this routine I do because I know practice is coming, right? And the coach knows I'm ready if I'm in the circle of warm-ups, right? This drops less than half. Do it after practice exercise. Why? Because they're tired. But if practice and exercise is doing work, then it's creating tension. So if you were trying to get back to normal, doing it after practice would probably be a good idea if you got tight during practice and you did stuff during practice. We get that it's based on feeling, for the most part, 2/3. I don't know what this 37.3% think it's based on. Might be science of numbers. I'm not sure. But only you can tell if you're stretching a muscle, and only you can tell if that muscle has actually relaxed or released. Right? This is why the faking it of going through the motions, and when someone asks you where you feel it, you can't, even if you can't say it, you can't point. Problematic. Again, why are you wasting your time? Over half say I know how to stretch tight parts, not that many. And again, I would offer this counter. If you're stretching parts every day, are they really something that you're changing? Are you doing it well? Okay. If I clean really good today and I don't mess it up tomorrow, I don't got to clean tomorrow, right? We talked about muscle tightness. We get, now watch this big disconnect here. We get that stretching as a form of relaxing, 96%. And yet, when I ask wincing, by the way, is like making that face like something sour or something hurts. Wincing or holding your breath when stretching makes it less effective, right? This number drops in half. They missed it. Again, if you're lying on the floor relaxing and you're not breathing and you're wincing, it's pretty obvious you're not actually relaxing, right? And the thing is, because people like extremes. So when I'm stretching something, I want to stretch it so hard I feel it burn. If you stop breathing or wince, the stretch is too much for your body to say, okay. You need to back off the stretch so that you can breathe actually, and you can relax your face, and breath and facial expression will tell the body, oh, we're cool, we're good. And it will actually let that thing go. But if I fight it, I can't fight a stretch. That isn't going to get me relaxed, right? We missed it. It's a compartment versus the system. We talked about this, and that was the end there. Okay? Stop sharing. Stop recording.